It's been 20 years since I came to Russia. I've spent half my life here, and I have no intention of leaving. I've always loved Russia, and I love it even more as time goes on. There was never a moment I stopped loving it. I wouldn't want to move to any other country. I live outside the city of Sergiev Posad, about a 25-minute drive. I really love it here. I was born in the Alps. I always lived in a house, so for me, living in an apartment in the city has always been challenging, and when we built a house in this place, I didn't really like coming here only on the weekends, and then going back to the apartment in the city. So I decided that wasn't going to do. And we'd have to live in our house permanently. I first came to Russia in 2000, when I was still a student at the University of Grenobl. I can't even remember what my first impression was. All I know is that everything was so different, very exotic. I was super excited, but I can't even tell you the exact reason why. I returned to France, and it was horrible. I just wanted to go back to Moscow all the time. And then my dad told me, "Is your visa valid?" And I said, "Yes." "Then go." It all began very early in my childhood because when I was little, I was a year and a half old. My dad went to work in the Soviet Union. It was 1983. And it was such an unforgettable experience for my dad that he would talk about it all the time. So I grew up hearing about how Russian is the most beautiful language, that it's a beautiful country. And we watched all the movies, we watched all the programs, we watched practically everything that was available. My dad has always supported me. When I said that I wanted to get a degree in foreign languages and learned Russian, he said, "Sure, it's a great idea, go ahead." And later I said, "Look, I have an opportunity to go to Russia for a year as an exchange student." "Really? Where to?" "Well, there's Moscow and Nizhny Novgorod and this and that." And we chose the city together. My dad comes to Russia from time to time. He visited us back in October. He's happy for me. He's glad that I found myself, that I have children. And he finds it amusing that his grandchildren speak Russian even better than French. I have 2 children. Roman is 12. He was born in France, in the Alps, in the same city where I was born. And Mia is 3.5, and she was born in Russia. Roma goes to school in Sergiev Posad, and Mia has just started preschool. Right? We're just starting. Right, honey? Will you sell me some fruit? Okay. Sell me something. I'll take 1 strawberry
And an orange.
and a tangerine. Since I was good at math, I realized that Russian grammar wasn't that difficult for me to master. Using a mathematic approach, it was easy to understand and memorize the cases. The hardest part for me was the perfective and imperfective aspects. The difference between repeated and single actions, or prefixes. For example, verbs like enter, exit, leave, move away. They sound similar in Russian, but have different prefixes that change their meaning. I'd ask, what's the difference? And in fact, the difference is huge. So that was the most difficult part, to understand those subtleties. Because, of course, when you come to a country, you speak a very basic language, and you don't understand all these nuances. You can't quite grasp them yet. And you can feel that the people's way of thinking is completely different, and you have to make an effort to understand it. It takes more than a year. Here's an example. There's a Russian word, lipki, meaning sticky. I remember one summer day, my husband and I were cooking something. And I wanted to say that his skin was sticky, but forgot the word and said something similar sounding. I said, lopki, no. Lapki, no. I know, lipki, right, bingo, lipki. And it became our phrase, lapki, lopki, lipki. I'm very passionate about art. I have a great love of paintings. I brought a lot of paintings from France, and some of these I bought here in Russia. This painting, for example, used to hang in my mom's house and in my grandmother's house. I wouldn't call it a very good painting in terms of technique, but it's a family heirloom, so it's meaningful. This is a house in the village where my grandmother was born. This one I also brought from France. It used to belong to my grandmother. And this one was a gift. I paint as well, with pastels and watercolors, but that's strictly a hobby, just for fun. I've always loved paintings, and as you may have seen, there are a lot of them in my house. My grandma had a lot of them too. At some point, I knew I wanted to do something related to paintings. I'm not really an art expert. Yes, I know Russian, I work in design, but I don't have a lot of experience with paintings. But I still thought, I love paintings and I want to do it. I would often visit Sergiev Posad, and during those visits, I became friends with the woman who owns this space. One day she says to me, look, I have this space. Do you want to start a gallery here? And I said, yes, right away. Then I came back home. Did I really say yes? All right. Let's do it. That's how it happened, even though I had never planned it. It was just a vague idea that someday, maybe, I might open an art gallery. But I never thought it would happen like that. I came for a coffee and was taken to see the place. Look, it would be perfect for a gallery. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I want. I do, I want it. All right. Running the gallery takes quite a lot of my time. For me, it's important that the pieces are from Sergiev Posad, because I like the city, and by the way, we also have a division of the Artists' Union here, the largest one in terms of the number of artists. And what I wanted was to put them on the map, to showcase their works, because there are so many of them, and they are all really wonderful. The local artists mostly sit in their studios and create their works. And I wanted to take it a step further, to get these paintings out of the studios and bring them to potential buyers, to find an audience for them, to just put them out there for people to see. That's what I wanted to do. I want to help the local artists so that other people could see their paintings. It's been 20 years since I came to Russia. I've spent half my life here, and I have no intention of leaving. I've always loved Russia, and I love it even more as time goes on. There was never a moment I stopped loving it. I wouldn't want to move to any other country. Russia has given me everything. It gave me a family, it gave me a house, it gave me this space. Friends, acquaintances, it gave me everything. Today we're making croissants. I love them. The best ones are, of course, croissants with no filling. Cooking is not my forte, but it's something I have to do. I like cooking when it's quick and the results taste and look good. Yes, it's not that easy, but I have a list of foolproof go-to dishes that I know how to make. Blanquette du dinde. It's turkey with bechamel sauce, carrots and mushrooms. I also make lasagna, bolognese, a variety of international dishes, you could say. Mia, will you help me? With the flour? Okay, sprinkle some flour on top of the croissants. Right. Yes, like that. Mia understands everything I say in French. She can't repeat after me yet, but she understands. Her brother is older and can speak French, but she hasn't been to France yet. Hopefully, when we go there, she'll start talking, but she already understands everything. Everything I say. Put some flour here as well, please. Come on, like this. See? Summer means a kroshka. I didn't know what it was yet. I had just arrived, they sat me at the table, and I saw this huge bowl of fresh diced vegetables. Large cubes, so crisp, so mouth-watering. You want some? Yeah, sure. They gave me some, I started eating, and they were like, stop. Why stop? Wait a second. She opened the fridge, took out this huge bottle, and the bottle had some kind of liquid, brownish in color, with bubbles. What's that? It's kvass. What's kvass? It's good. And she poured this kvass onto these beautiful vegetables. I looked at it, and it was like these vegetables were now swimming in Coke. I tried it, but I couldn't eat it. It was the only time I really couldn't. I like Russian cuisine. We've had Russian salad and herring and beetroot salad. I didn't do the cooking, of course. Our croissants are done. This set is 60 years old. It's Limoges porcelain, made by Bernardod. This was given to my dad, as was common back then. When he was 15 years old, my grandmother and great-grandmother decided that it was time to give him porcelain, glassware, and silverware as a gift. They showed him the sets and asked him to choose, and my dad chose this set. 60 years later, and now I use it. You tired, honey? Want to go to bed? Or what do you want? Sleep. Want me to read to you? What, a story? No? A cartoon. You want to watch a cartoon? I've been living here for 20 years. The country and the people have changed a lot in those 20 years, but I've always felt comfortable here. And all the people I've met have always been friendly and good and kind to me. There was never a situation in which I felt alien or unwanted. Not even once. If I ever needed help, I'd ask, and people would say, sure, no problem. That's why it puzzles me when I sometimes hear that Russians are grim and unforthcoming. Maybe if a foreigner doesn't speak the language, he or she may get this impression that Russians are very reserved and unfriendly and grim people, but I've never felt that way. Maybe because I can speak the language and have been able to communicate with people, and they've always been friendly and open and amiable and willing to help. I only have Russian friends. Yes, it so happens that all of my friends are Russian. But again, I've lived here almost half my life. So it's no surprise that all of my current friends are Russian. We had completely different childhoods. I watched different cartoons, listened to different songs, read different fairy tales. For example, when my daughter starts singing "A Little Christmas Tree Was Born," everyone sings along while I'm just standing like this. I only know the first lines, and that's it. Let's sing the second verse, the third verse. Everyone sings, and I'm just... There's this thing when you meet people, no matter if they're French or Russian, with some people you immediately know you'll get along. It's like your vibes just match. And with some people, it's the other way around. I actually rarely socialize with the French because, especially with those French who come to Russia just for business, because I've never had anything in common with them. They're not really interested in living in Russia, in learning the language, or getting to know the culture. So I don't communicate with these French people. I just don't. And there are others like me who love the language, the culture, the history, and so on. Same with Russians. You start talking to someone and no. Just no. You don't want to talk to them. So it's all about the personality, not a nationality. I don't know if it's a Russian thing or not, you tell me, but my dad finds it very amusing. He asks me about something. Do you want this? And I say, or And these and meaning yes and no, I think it's a totally Russian thing, and it always makes my dad laugh. Russia, I love you.